I got Darin here. You're a specialist, and you're gonna kind of tell us a little bit of your world. It's in the world of dentistry,
Yes.
And you're a endodontist. I hope
I'm an endodontist, yes.
Okay.
You're pronouncing correctly. Good job.
And I gotta practice that.
It's hard. It's hard to say.
I know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know what that is until they have to go see you.
Yes, yeah. So an endodontist basically is a root canal specialist.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I went to 3 extra years of school to become an endodontist. I'm basically a microscopic root canal specialist.
Microscopic
Yes.
root canal specialist.
Yes, so we do everything that we do, root canal surgical procedures under a Zeiss microscope. So it basically illuminates the tooth so you can see all the anatomy of the tooth and make sure you're cleaning the tooth, which makes the root canal become more predictable in the end.
Now, you're already working in a small space, which is people's mouths.
Yep.
Now, you're looking at these roots. Like, how big is that space?
Well, root that's down through the nerve that we treat sits inside the root of the tooth. Mm-hmm. So the root actually extends from the crown of the tooth down through the bone of the jaw.
And so you took 3 more years of school to just be really good at this.
Yes. Well, the scientific part of it's pretty important. It's everything we do is research based.
Okay.
And then the technical side of it takes a long time. It took me 2,000 root canals to become decent at what I do, at least in my opinion. So it's repetition because every tooth is different. Every patient is different. So every treatment is different. People say, "Oh man, you do root canals all day long. Doesn't that get boring?" But every situation it's a challenge. I mean, I've done like 15,000 root canals now, and they're still challenging. Especially the patient part of it.
Oh yeah, and everyone's different, right?
So, everybody's different, and yeah, as you know, I always make it analogous. I always say, number 1 is a shark attack. Number 2 is a root canal. So people are a little bit nervous about coming and seeing us. So that's the challenge of making them feel comfortable and doing a great job for them because it's all about the patient.
Yeah.
And their experience and making them feel better.
And that's the thing; it's the experience, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Make them comfortable.
Yep.
But because people. That's the other thing too. I don't think people understand what the expectations are.
Oh, absolutely.
And it goes into the question of why should I see you instead of my general dentist?
Yep.
But you're the expert. You went 3 extra years of school.
Yeah. And I've done thousands and thousands of procedures. And the most important part is the surgical microscope.
Yeah.
Because we're able to see what most people can't. Especially molar root canals, they're very complex. They have different root anatomy. A lot of times they have extra little nerves or canals that come down through the tooth. And if those canals are missed, basically that's tissue that's sitting into the tooth that down the road can be infected by bacteria.
Oh, wow.
So if you miss tissue inside the tooth, that's the whole entire point of a root canal. You have to get all the nerve tissue out of the inside of the tooth, and then the body can keep the bone around the tooth healthy and can keep the tooth in the mouth for a lifetime. But if you miss things inside a tooth, that's a potential avenue for bacteria to get inside the tooth. And they sit in there for a while, and they can cause problems. One of the things we do is redo root canals. And unfortunately, we redo more than we should. But that's okay. We're here to help.
I think one time is good,
do it right the first time.
Yeah.
And that's what we pride ourselves also. I own a practice called Endodontics of Denver. That's downtown, right off of Wine Coop, and the reason why I'm there is just to make sure we're trying to spread the word and trying to help as many people as possible to save their natural teeth. And if you do root canals well, they work like a charm. It's just they're very difficult. They're very technologically sensitive. So it's, coming to a specialist, we've done it multiple times. We have different tools to help us make the root canal predictable.
And you also have a pretty sophisticated office, right? With the equipment and all the stuff that you use to be successful in this?
Yeah, I mean, we have CBCT scans, which is a 3-dimensional image of your head and neck area. So it basically takes a picture of the tooth, and you can look at the tooth and the supporting bone and the anatomy around the tooth. And you can see different things because it's in 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
We use the surgical microscope like I've already hit on. It illuminates the tooth, makes us be able to see down through the tooth. So we typically don't miss a ton of stuff and can make the tooth look so clean that you're going to get a predictable outcome. We also use different disinfecting devices to help clean and disinfect the nerve inside the tooth by getting rid of bacteria, getting rid of inflamed tissue. Then the bone around the tooth heals, and it's a very predictable way to save a tooth.
Now, is this? I can't imagine. Like, was this like your first choice, or how do you get into something like this?
How do you become an endodontist?
Yeah,
Oh
because
my goodness.
it sounds so complex, right?
Well, and also people hear endodontist and they're like, "Oh my God, you're the last person I want to see." But if you are having tooth pain issues specifically,
Yeah.
I'm the guy you want to see. Or we're the people that you want to see as an endodontic community.
A couple years back, I had a wisdom tooth going into my molar.
Yeah.
And they thought I had to go through a root canal. And I was like, I'm totally fine with it. Like, this pain has to
Yes.
go. But, I mean, if you're an expert in what you do, I'd be happy to see you because you're going to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a huge stigma between the pain that is associated with the initial tooth pain
Yeah.
and the procedure of the root canal. But the root canal is actually specifically, or it's going to get you out of discomfort. So the root canal is actually the good thing. It's the tooth pain is the stuff that
Yeah.
really causes patients aggravation and sleepless nights.
Yeah.
So a lot of patients will come in and say, "Oh my gosh, I haven't slept for a few nights," and it's just been. And that's why I do what I do. I really love helping patients get out of pain and call them the next day after the procedure, and they're like, "Oh my God, I feel terrific." That's the most rewarding part of my job.
What are some of the myths that you could bust on root canals or just going into getting dental work done?
Yeah.
Because I think people have this odd expectation.
Yeah.
And then I think if they're aware,
Yeah.
they'll be a lot more comfortable coming in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dentistry itself, I mean, I think it's an amazing profession. We get to help people on a daily basis. It is a very hard profession because it's very technical. Like you said, we're working in a small environment. We're doing very technically sensitive things. But we all have our parts. I mean, I work with amazing general dentists that refer us a lot of patients to help them out on pain. And yeah, I mean, the myth behind endodontics is, sometimes root canals are difficult. And like we talked about earlier, is if you do leave, bacteria or tissue inside a tooth, there can be ramifications down the road where the root canal doesn't work. And so that's where, but if root canals are done well, you clean the tooth well, you find all the nerves inside the tooth, you make little small windows to access the tooth to do the root canal. That's very important because you're saving tooth structure. So there's less likelihood that the tooth can crack or fracture. And then you go back to your awesome restorative dentist and they put a solid crown on or cap on, whatever you want to call it, a cap or a crown on the tooth. Dentistry becomes very, very predictable. So if there's some kind of bad publicity out there. One is called The Root Cause. I don't know if you've ever heard of that documentary.
No.
Yeah, there's a documentary out there called The Root Cause, and what they did is a lot of holistic dentists looked at root canals. But what they did is they also took root canals that weren't done in a favorable fashion, where there was roots missed in a tooth, or the root canal wasn't filled properly, or it wasn't restored properly. And that situation, of course, the root canal or the restorative portion of the process of trying to save the tooth isn't going to work. Right. It's like having a knee replacement, and the knee replacement wasn't done well. It's not going to work. It's just like anything else in medicine. And
this is why you have to build those relationships with other dentists as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's all a team. We're all here, in the end, if we're doing our job, we're here to help the patient, and try to save natural teeth if we can. And that's the cool thing about dentistry. If it's done well, it's so predictable. But like I said, it's not an easy gig. So, but we're all trying to do the best we can. If we can work together, that's the whole point, helping people.
That's right.
Yep.
Imagine being the first person getting this procedure, and you got to find find what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that this even exists, right?
Right. Well, I mean, if you look back in history, I mean, they've been doing root canals since the beginning almost of mankind, where people would have these weird toothaches, and they actually removed the nerve from the tooth, and it caused relief. Obviously, the science has changed a
Yeah.
bunch and the technology has changed a ton.
Yes.
That's why, root canals are really predictable now with like we talked about like imaging, and we talked about the microscope, and we talked about the different, the new instruments are amazing.
Yeah.
Now I'm using these new files, the root canal files to clean teeth, and they're amazing, and just the restorative, the type of, crowns we can place on teeth that are so solid that protect the tooth. I mean, dentistry becomes very predictable. It's good. It's a good technology in that regard is very good.
And I imagine when you're going to school for all this, I mean, you definitely had to put in your reps.
Oh, absolutely.
Did it feel like it was taking forever, or you're like, I'm never gonna get out of this? And then when you finally get out,
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably biting at the bits to
Chomping
get
at
in.
the
Yeah,
bit to,
yeah.
start practicing. I really loved school. So
Yeah.
I went to school for a long time, so I played football at Western Washington University out of high school for a couple seasons, hurt my shoulder, went to the University of Washington, graduated from there undergrad, and then went to University of Michigan for dental school. So that was a 4-year program. And then I was in the military for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was very blessed to be able to do what you call an advanced education in general dentistry. It was like a year residency program. I did it at the Great Lakes base near Chicago in Illinois.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
up
I was
there.
stationed. I was with the Navy. So I served with the Navy. I was with the Navy for a year, and then I went greenside with the Marines for about 3.5 years.
Oh, the Marines
Yeah,
too?
yeah,
Oh,
it was
so
cool. Yeah, the Marines are crazy. They're the best. But anyway, so I was able, and that's kind of how I got interested in root canals, was the advanced education in general dentistry residency I went through. I was able to start looking down through microscopes, and I was like, wow, coming out of dental school, I was like, I'm never going to do a root canal again,
Yeah.
because you couldn't see, nowadays we also have what you call digital radiographs. So when you take the X-ray, it like pops up on the screen really quickly.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like 2 seconds. It's up on the screen. You can see what you took. Back in the day, you had to take the radiograph or the X-ray, if you want to call it that. You'd have to go develop it, and then you have to come back and look at it. In dental school, half the times you miss the image, so you have to go
Yep.
take it again. And the root canals in dental school were about 3-4 appointments long. So you'd meet the patient, you'd start the root canal, and then have them come back, and then have them come back again and again and again until you completed it. So.
But now it's getting more streamlined.
Well, yeah, and plus, like I said, going through the military and doing that residency, and then I had really awesome mentors, especially in the Marines. I was stationed at Camp Lejeune for 3 years, and there was a couple of good mentors there that really took me under their wing and said, hey, this is why we do this, and like I said, got really proficient with the surgical microscope. And then I decided, hey, I wanted to be an endodontist instead of general dentist. And so I was very fortunate to go to the University of Southern California for my root canal school, which is about a 2.5-year program. It was great. I was lead resident or head resident, whatever you want to call it. And taught the undergraduate dental schools how to do dental students how to do root canals, which is kind of cool. So I was a lead root canal instructor for a year, which is really neat. So I love educating people. Yeah, and then after that, I joined a big group practice right out of University of Southern California up in Littleton, Centennial area.
Yeah.
And then had a practice up in Beaver Creek for 15 years, and then needed a new challenge, and now I'm here.
So you've been in the military. You played team sports. Has any of that contributed to how you do your work, or like how you approach solving problems? Because it's an interesting like places you've been and to what you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it all started with my parents. My parents were both school teachers, and they really instilled in my brother and I a good work ethic. Ever since I was 13, if I wasn't playing sports, I was working.
You were working at 13?
Yeah, I had my own little landscape company.
Landscaping?
And then, so I did landscaping from junior high through high school if I wasn't playing sports.
Yeah.
I played football and basketball in high school, and then, and then I played football in college, and all those team sports teach you a lot of work ethic and a lot of leadership skills for sure. One of my claims to fame is I was actually a fullback at Western Washington University, and the gentleman that was my running back, he ran for like 2,300 yards in one season.
That's
was
a
like
lot,
first team
yeah.
All-American. So I blocked for him. I was like, didn't get a lot of glory, but that was kind of neat to see.
Yeah, but being a fullback, I mean, that's an important role, and you're
Yeah.
taking a lot of hits.
Yeah, and it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wake up the next morning, your body doesn't feel so hot. So, yeah, I played just a couple seasons, and then I transferred to the University of Washington. It's just I couldn't do anymore. It hurt my shoulder.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, all that stuff, being brought up by awesome family who instilled work ethic.
Did they
you know.
encourage you to like get into this industry, or was it just they encouraged you just to try different things?
Try different things.
Yeah.
When I was a really, really young kid, I had disease of my kidney. It was called hemolytic uremic syndrome. Nowadays they call it E. coli.
Okay.
Basically, my kidney stopped when I was like 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
And there was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Moses who basically saved my life. They gave me 30% chance to live, and I pulled through, which is great.
Wow.
I was like one of 5 kids that had it initially on the West Coast, and I was like, or I'm sorry, there was 5 kids on the West Coast that had it, and I was the only kid, 1 out of 5 that survived it.
That survived it?
Yeah,
Oh,
which
my
is
goodness.
crazy,
Yeah.
So when I grew up, I always wanted to go in some sort of medical field to help people. I've always wanted to help people, and that's been my big thing. And so when I was in college, I had the opportunity to work for Dr. Moses. He was being bought out by a hospital, so I had to go back through all of his records and build up his I guess portfolio for him. And I was able to observe a lot of different things. We go to the hospital a lot and help out sick kids and just kind of go and say hi to them, make sure they're recovering well. And at that point, I also was like observing like dentistry. I looked at physical therapy. I looked at chiropractic.
But that's amazing that
Yeah.
you were saved by this doctor.
Yeah.
And then you also were like, I'm gonna go and work for this guy.
Yeah.
And
No, it was awesome. He was like, hey, I need somebody to help me with, gather a bunch of data on my practice before I sell it. Would you be willing to help me? And I said, of course, And so that summer was crazy though, because I also worked in a paper mill.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been in a paper mill, but my goodness, it's so that's not an easy job either.
No.
So I'd go from working the paper mill, and sometimes I'd work like graveyard shift. I'd go right from the paper mill, and I'd work for Dr. Moses, and then go home and sleep and do it all over again.
Man, you've done it all.
Yeah.
And when you talk about paper mill, this is like old school, right? Like you're like in this like big facility.
Oh my God! Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard of the Tacoma aroma. Back in the day, Tacoma had this kind of disturbing, I guess, for a lack of a better term, aroma. It wasn't very pretty.
Yeah.
And that came from the paper mill. It was
Wow.
called Simpson Craft Company. Since then, I think they shut down like 5 years ago. But
Oh, yeah?
yeah, my whole entire life, that paper mill was churning and burning. So I worked for worked for Dr. Moses, and we'd visit the hospital a lot. And I just found out from that experience that wasn't a huge hospital kind of thing,
Yeah.
So I looked at dentistry also, and I just decided, dentistry was kind of the route I wanted to go.
How did it lead you into the military?
So what happened with the military is I worked my way through school. My parents helped as much as they could, but being 2 school teachers, they didn't have a ton of money. So I not only worked at the paper mill, but I also worked at this athletic club called the Pro Sports Club. I went to the University of Washington after I got done playing football, and I was like just at the front desk helping. But I worked at the Pro Sports Club like 30 hours a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
30 hours a week?
Yeah.
And you went to school?
And I went to school, yeah.
Wow.
So I'd go right from school.
Yeah.
I'd drive to Bellevue, Washington, which is on the east side of Seattle, basically an east side suburb. I'd work there, drive back, do my studies, go to bed, repeat.
Well, you knew you had to get it done.
I had to get it done,
Yeah.
man. And then so when I went to dental school, I was like, man, how am I going to afford this, you know? And so this opportunity came up for what you call a 4-year naval health professional scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So the deal was they would pay for 4 years at dental school, and then I had to serve for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that's like what is it? Not a long time, and you get a great opportunity.
Man, it was amazing, and I really love the military. So sometimes I wish I would have stayed in, but I also was very blessed because my grandma's brother-in-law was this gentleman by the name of Admiral James Russell. And he was actually the gentleman that invented the hooks that catch airplanes as they go onto
Oh, yeah.
aircraft carriers.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the time I interviewed with him for my scholarship, he was a 5-star admiral.
Oh, wow.
He was the highest ranking officer in the United States when I got to interview with him. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. And
Yeah.
you got to sit there with
Yeah,
him.
I got to sit there with him. His home was on Lake Steilacoom, where my grandma lived in Tacoma. Beautiful lake. His house was like a museum,
Yeah.
you know, and he had this, junior officer, this lieutenant was kind of like his helper.
Yeah.
And so he greeted me, and I walked in and talked to Admiral Russell. It was awesome. And he wrote me a letter of recommendation.
Oh,
and
that's
I got the
great.
scholarship. Yeah. So it was, I was very fortunate. I think it was like 1 out of 4 kids that got the scholarship, or 1 out of 6 kids. I can't, whatever
Oh,
it
wow.
was. Yeah. So it was like, yeah. So that year the scholarship was pretty competitive. And I think that letter of recommendation helped a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you have this drive. You know, you played football, you've worked at a paper mill, you went to the military. It's like I got to get something done. What?
Sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit overly ambitious.
Yeah.
But it's good, I think. So yeah. So it just brought me here. I was in the mountains for 15 years, and
Yeah.
and I just wanted to come back down to the city. And I know it sounds weird, but my opinion, the more people that can walk through our doors at Endodontics of Denver, I think it's a good thing. I
Yeah.
think we do a great job. I think we're extremely patient focused. I believe in doing the right thing every single time, regardless of what it does to my pocketbook. You know what I mean? So
Do you think
yeah.
all those experiences you went through led you
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
the perspective that you have? And
Yeah,
how,
I
how
think
you,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think every life experience, no matter who you are, leads you to where you're at, right? It's just
Yeah.
sometimes we take different paths to get where we're going.
Yeah.
And yeah, so now I'm here, and I'm here to help.
Yeah.
And my staff's here to help, and so hopefully we can spread the word, and the more people, like I said, we can get through those doors. I think it's good for everybody.
Yeah, you got a great team. I met your team,
Yeah.
and I mean, to gather people with the same mindset like that
Yeah.
has to be somebody like yourself, putting
Yeah.
it together and
Yeah, and
showing
we're-
them the vision.
Yeah, and we're very passionate about helping
Yeah.
people. My staff is wonderful. They're extremely knowledgeable. And then we have Wesley, my little
Oh.
French bulldog. He's cruising around, so he gets to greet patients a little bit too. So we try to make it, as tolerable as possible.
Yeah.
We try to make it fun. We try to educate patients. We try to make them feel calm and relaxed in a stressful environment. Because we know it's a scary situation. A lot of times, most of the time, referral-based practice. So general dentists will refer us patients.
Yeah.
So the patient has never really met us before. So our challenge is to, start from scratch with a relationship that's,
Yeah.
and so that's very challenging, just to meet somebody. And we know there's, sometimes trust issues and that sort of thing. So that's, why we try to take our time with our patients to educate patients, to make sure they know what they're getting into, and just walk them through it step by step. And then hopefully when they leave, they're like, oh man,
Yeah.
that wasn't so bad. And then they spread the word. My theory is you treat patients like family. You do the best thing you can for every single patient that's sitting in front of you, and things will turn out well.
See, I think that's a great approach to it
Well, thank you.
because yeah, in that industry, it's hard to make a first impression.
Yes.
And then just build that trust.
Yeah.
Like you got this guy that's working in your mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
and it has this stigma where I don't want to go.
Yes.
But if you could get them comfortable and genuinely trust you, I think that's great. And
Yeah.
I think that's how people should look at it, right? Instead of just, hey, you're in, let's get you in and out, and then
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, we take approach, like I said, we take the approach. I mean, it's a simple rule, and it's overused, I guess. But the golden rule, it's just like treat
Yeah.
people like you treat yourself. That's all you can do, and that's and if you can do that, I think you'll be successful. You
Yeah.
know? And that's the way we try to treat every single patient that comes through that door like family.
And I think your work will show that because, I mean, you obviously have done your reps.
Yeah.
But if you just continue just doing that and having integrity and great service, it's going to show.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Your work is not easy. And I imagine you have to do something on the side to kind of balance things out.
Oh, yes.
I like to get outside, go for a run, go for a hike. Do you do anything like that? Or are you working on any projects?
Oh man, my big thing is I love to hike, in the summer. I love to mountain bike in the summer. Mountain biking me as I get older is a little dangerous. I took a spill, actually 2 spills over my handlebars 2 summers ago. So I've kind of calmed it down on the mountain biking thing.
I
But
know you don't want to be injured and then can't go to work, right?
Oh man, falling
Yeah.
off a mountain bike hurts.
Yeah.
You know, I've been mountain biking my whole entire life since I was a kid. And 2 summers ago was the first time I ever fell off a mountain bike. And I did it twice in one summer.
In one summer.
Broke 2 ribs.
Oh.
It was hard to work. You know, so I'm taking it a little bit easier on the mountain bike thing, but
Yeah.
I still get out there. I love it. Hiking's one of my big passions. I try to hike at least once a week.
Oh, wow.
You know, living up the mountains, I could hike right out my back door, so that's something I do miss about living up there. But I take Wednesdays off,
Yeah.
so I try to get out and do different hikes. And then I'm an avid snow skier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my parents helped out with a ski school when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like I said, they were both school teachers, so skiing is not an inexpensive sport. So in order to fund that, they volunteered to chaperone a ski bus, help with the ski school, so we could go up every Saturday and ski. Yeah.
That's
So I've been
great.
skiing since I was 3rd grade. And living up in the mountains for the last 15 years, I skied, close to 50 times a year.
Hey, skiing teaches you how to have finesse, though.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you just can't go and bulldoze it out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and I'm the type of person. Some people catch on to things really, really quickly. I'm more of a repetition kind of guy, so I start slow,
Yep.
and then I'm not so. guess I'm not as good as I want to be right off the bat. But once I get things, I'm decent. And that's what's helped me with endodontics is because it's repetition.
Yep.
And so after a few thousand root canals, I'm like, hey, I'm pretty decent at this thing. Yeah. So hiking and biking, I love that. I love writing.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of writing a book about dogs.
Oh.
I love dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a big fox red English lab. His name is Henry. I was with him for 12 years, or he was with me for 12 years up in the mountains. He was my office dog. We'd hike. We'd ski together, telling you the truth.
Oh.
Yeah, we'd do this thing called skinning. You've probably
Yeah.
heard of
Oh,
that,
yeah,
where you
yeah.
put these things on the bottom of your skis and you can hike up the mountain, and then we'd ski down.
And he'll wear it?
Well, he was.
Oh, well, he wouldn't wear it.
He wouldn't wear it. No, he would just hike with me.
He'd just go with you?
Yeah, when he was younger, like from probably ages of 3 to like say 7 to 8, he was amazing.
So he's
And
a
he would-
hardy boy.
Oh my God, he was amazing. He would come up behind me, and then on the way down, he'd
Yeah.
like slide on his belly.
Aw.
Yeah, he'd get going and then slide on his belly. It was really
amazing.
awesome. So when he passed away, I told myself, and I told him, I said, I'm going to write a book. So I'm in the process of writing the book. It's taken me longer than I thought it would, but it's getting there. And I love playing the piano too. So I'm.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I love playing the piano. So I do try to do that. Play at least a half an hour a night. Kind
Really?
of just relaxes me when I get home from work. And yeah, my wife likes it, so that's good. She's my #1 fan.
Oh,
You know?
you're like a Renaissance man.
Oh well, no,
Yeah.
it's just everything is kind of falling in place a little bit, I guess. But
But you've been working towards it, so
yeah,
it's like it's only a matter of time.
yeah.
I'm curious on this book. Like, you don't have to tell me all the details now, but I mean, it's one thing to write, but then to actually like want to publish a book. I mean, that takes time.
Well, I think it's going to take me probably another year.
Yeah.
Because it's not a short novel by any stretch of the imagination. I'm on like chapter 8 right
Yeah.
now. So yeah, I mean, this is one of my goals. I think, building this practice is something I'm very passionate about. I built a very, very solid practice up in Beaver Creek, and I think I was pretty decently respected in the community up there for 15 years. And I just think down here, I'm a little bit more connected to the dental community, which is a really nice thing for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm working with some really, really good general dentists down here, which is a really nice thing. I feel a little bit more part of a family, a dental family down here, which is great. And I also think just because the amount of people here that I can help more people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're doing,
Hey, you show them what you do best,
And so if I can do that, build that clinic, and I can write this book, I'll die a happy man.
Oh,
It'll
man.
be good.
That sounds amazing.
That's what it's about. Yep.
So definitely have to check in on you.
Yeah.
And in the midst of all this, like, I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What, in your journey into, working in landscaping at 13,
Oh man.
like playing sports, paper mill, military, dental school, what stands out, like, I don't know, a couple examples of that got you over here.
Got me where I'm at.
Yeah.
I think like I hit on earlier is, one of the things is I had very, very, very supportive parents. And I had a great family. I had an older brother who's one of my best friends, guy would take a bullet for me and vice versa, So I think growing up in that atmosphere, my parents love each other. They're still together. They still live in the same house I grew up in. So when I
That's awesome.
when I go visit them, I sleep in the same. It's changed. Yeah, they redid my room.
It's not like your
It's not like
posters as a kid.
exactly. It's not posters like
Yeah.
all over the. That'd be kind of funky or weird if I come home and I'm still looking at the same walls.
Yeah.
But so very supportive, parents that told me, hey, go do it and just try to follow your heart, and it's kind of led me here.
Yeah.
One of the things sometimes I look back on, I'm like, wow, I've been so many places and done so many things. Sometimes I forget where home is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy that if I come to a fork in the road and one is like take a right and go home and do the simple thing, or the left is jump off a cliff and see where it takes you,
Yeah.
I'm jumping off the cliff. You know what I mean? Into water.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. But
Were you ever,
I always take the road less traveled for sure. It's just the way I am.
Were you ever scared or nervous?
I'm scared every day.
Every day.
You know what I mean? Like, not scared, but I go into, work and I'm still a little bit nervous,
Yeah.
because I want to do the best I can. And I think if you lose that, then it just becomes monotonous and you're
Yeah.
like, I think challenging yourself in life is, key to longevity, and keeping yourself young and active. And when you stop moving, man,
Yeah.
that's when the game's over.
Yeah, you got to take a chance.
You got to take chances.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here. I look at all the opportunities I had before opening this practice, Endodontics of Denver. I had several opportunities with larger group firms that they wanted me to come and work for them. And probably the most risky would be open my own practice again. But I looked at it and I didn't see another path. You know what I mean? It just kept on leading me to, opening your own gig and trying to do it one more time.
Well,
that's why I'm here.
It's your way of doing things,
Yes.
and you want to show it off to the world.
Yeah. Well, it's not like, I'm hoping I'm the best out there,
Yeah.
but it's not like my way's the right way, but I'm very passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
Or what we do. It's always a we, not an I. And I think that, like I said, just doing the right thing for patients it helps me sleep at night,
Yeah.
and gets me up in the morning. And telling you the truth, I was a little bit burnt out practicing up in the mountains. It's just, I was there for 15 years and I just need a new challenge. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of, rejuvenated, if
There
you
you
can
go.
say.
Yeah.
I'm back to wanting to, spread the word, do good work, and let the chips fall where they may.
And you're in downtown, right?
Yeah, we're right down at the end of Wine Coop. So Wine Coop ends in the little cul-de-sac there,
Yeah.
and then there's a bridge that goes over the river.
Oh, so right, like where the Cherry Creek Trail goes.
Yep.
Oh, that's a beautiful
Absolutely,
part of
yeah.
town.
Like we're basically 15th and Wine Coop.
Okay.
And the cool thing about some people are like a little bit anxious about coming downtown, but our office is extremely accessible because it's right down the end of cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of traffic there. We have lots of parking.
Yeah, it's away from like all the madness in downtown.
Yep, it's great. It's a great location. We're pretty centralized, so hopefully we can, have lots of referrals referring in.
Yeah.
And if we spread the word to patients, if patients need our help, and
Yeah.
even without referrals, they're going to their general dentist if they know what we do, and they're more than happy to come walking through the door, and we'll give them our best.
I'll run down the trail and just go into your office.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful part of town.
If you're running, you have a toothache, you just come running right in. We'll help you out. Yeah, so it's good.
Well, I'll definitely have to check in on you because your office, your book, and then anything else you're working on, right?
Yeah, but that's about it. You only
Yeah.
could do so much, but trying to get out there, like I said, trying to get out in nature at least once a week,
Yeah.
helps me stay sane. I think that's really, really important. But
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, just keep on plugging away, doing the right thing, and like I said, it's I think it's going to be good. I'm excited. So.